Hi there, I'm Michael and I'd like to show you a few tips and tricks on homeschooling and home office to make sure that upcoming time is going to be an enjoyable experience for all of you and all of us. There are three things that are vital for the brain so it can actually work. First of all, it needs water. There's no transfer of information if there's no water available to the brain. So make sure that you, whenever you do home office, or your children when they do homeschooling, when they work at home, that there's always water available. And water doesn't mean tea or coffee or Red Bull or whatever you drink. It means pure water only, because that's the only thing that your body can use instantly. Okay? So place a bottle of water, a glass of water on your workplace or your workspace, and you can drink it whenever needed. Second important thing is fresh air. Your brain needs oxygen. It doesn't work without oxygen, so make sure that you air the room that you're working in very regularly. Maybe even keep the window open if the weather is permitting it, and like whenever you have a break or even during work, make sure that you get enough fresh air, enough oxygen, so your brain can actually use the oxygen. Nutrition is a very important factor. Your brain needs sugar. And I'm not talking about the sugar, again, that you get from Red Bull or from Nutella's bread in the morning. I'm talking about lots of veggies and fruit, like a healthy nutrition, so your brain has some fuel it can use to actually work properly and efficiently. Those are three very important factors so that working or learning can actually happen. Another important one that I consider important is the workspace. So make sure that you have a stress-free and a fear-free space where you can work, where you feel comfortable, where it's quiet. Switch off your cell phone after you've watched all these videos with the tips and tricks that I give you now. Switch it off, put it aside. If you have your own room somewhere, make sure that you have your own space and it's quiet, no distraction. Breaks are very important, so make sure that you do have breaks regularly, not just every 2 hours, but maybe every 20, 25, 30 minutes. Have a quick break. And I'll show you afterwards what you can do during the breaks. You can always drink water, you can always open the window and let some fresh air in. Variety is very important in order to learn, or in order to be able to learn. So don't focus on something for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Change whatever you do regularly, every 20, 25, 30 minutes if possible. And then come back to it later. You'll be a lot more efficient. Movement, the last point that I'm mentioning, is a very important one, and that's where the science of brain gym comes in. That comes from, or that's the learning part of kinesiology, and it means basically that, or we believe that movement of the body is enhancing the function of the brain. So when you're exercising your body, you're also exercising your brain, and you're keeping your brain fit. Okay, I'll show you with a little quiz what I'm talking about, or what I mean. What is this? Yes, exactly, it's an A. What else can you say about the A? And in my workshop, sometimes people say, it's the first letter of the alphabet, or whatever. That's right, but it's actually a lot more simple. It's a small blue A. What is this? Exactly. small blue pea. And this, another small blue pea. What about this one? Exactly, that's another. Most of you will have figured out by now that this is actually an apple. Question, what color does it have? Yes, you're right, it's blue, but what color does it have? And some of you might start thinking, now what does he mean? He's probably talking about this one here. So the correct answer would be red, or maybe green, or whatever color you imagine an apple. Why am I showing this to you? You have, if you take your hands in front of your chest, put the fists together, this is your brain. You have a left hemisphere of the brain and a right hemisphere of the brain. The left hemisphere of the brain is responsible for structural thinking, logical thinking, like recognizing the letters apple. That doesn't mean just because you know the structure of the letter that you actually understand what you're reading. And that's when the right hemisphere of the brain comes in, because this one is responsible for creative thinking, for imagination, for the image being created in the brain. And that's the image of the apple. So only if those two are efficiently working together, learning, or in this case, reading, can actually happen. This is important not just at school. This is important when you do home office. This is important when you play soccer, when you go surfing, whatever you like doing. This is a very important part, that the two hemispheres of your brain are working together. So we have 3 dimensions of the brain. As mentioned now, there's left and right. So if you don't know left and right anymore, there's something wrong with the communication. You have up and down, so upside down side, there's a dimension. So if everything turns upside down, there's something missing with your organization. And then you have the back and the front of the brain, that's another dimension. And that's like an example when you, who is already, like who's been down to the cellar once, or have you experienced that? You're down in the cellar and you're like, what was it that I wanted to get now? Have you experienced that before? This is like, if I cannot, like the impression that I have at the back of my brain, and I cannot express it. So impression cannot be expressed anymore, like a blackout. I've learned and learned and learned and I can't express it anymore. That's the dimension back in the brain, or back in front of the brain. Okay, so there are 3 kinds of exercises where you can enhance the function of the brain in these 3 dimensions. The goal is to actually fulfill your whole learning potential that you have in your brain, whatever potential that you have. So if you're keen to see a few of those exercises, I have uploaded quite a few exercises with regards to different, I would call them competences. So there's a video on YouTube where I've put in capital letters, for example, calculating. So I'll show you a couple of exercises there that enhance, or that are good exercises to do before you start a calculating exercise. Or there's one for reading, there's one for writing, there's one for motivation, hand-eye coordination, and so on. So there's quite a few videos that you can see. I would suggest, if you're interested, go and check out my YouTube channel, and there you can not only find videos with regards to the different competences, but also one important video that I think, like something that you should be doing before every learning unit, before every working unit, is actually switching on your body. And I'll show you on one of those videos very simple exercises how you can actually switch on your body, activating both hemispheres of the brain so that learning, working efficiently can actually happen. So check it out if you're interested, and see you later.